Comey's lying. He lied to Trump, showing you a history of deception with this guy. He's a snake. He's always been a snake. All right, here's some, this is just, hat tip Catherine Herridge again over at CBS now. Her Twitter feed has been a goldmine of good information. We went through the IG report, and candidly, folks, there's so much in there. Me, 279, a lot of my other sources, which, Devin Nunes was kind enough to give a hat tip to as well. We've had great sources. There's really so much in there. It's been hard to distill down to specific nuggets that are explosive because literally, folks, on every page, there's an interesting piece of information or a firework. So Herridge's been doing a really, really good job, Catherine Herridge. Before I get to that, though, I just want to play this quick video. This is Kevin McCarthy on Maria Bartiromo's show this weekend with just a fantastic analogy now that we have the IG report out and we've confirmed that they were, in fact, the Trump campaign was, in fact, spied on. This was a awesome analogy of how Spygate is Watergate, like on Wheaties and Decadurabolin, steroids. This is an explosive scandal that he sums up in like a minute or less. It's really worth you hearing. Check this out.
Well, if you pause for one moment and you read this IG report by Horowitz, here's the FBI. They broke into President Trump at the time, candidate Trump's campaign, spied on him, and then they covered it up. It is a modern-day Watergate. And you've got Democrats who aren't willing to even look into that. That is the area that we should be looking at. It's a modern-day coup, the closest this country's ever came to. But the only way you can compare this to is Watergate. They broke into his campaign by bringing people into it. They have been trying to cover it up for the whole time. Now the question rises, just like Watergate. Who knew? When did they know it? And how high did this go up?
That's a great analogy, and I'm upset at myself, right? Isn't it? I'm upset at myself for not thinking of it sooner. So just to be clear, the media gold standard, Woodward and Bernstein of scandals, the gold standard of scandals, which Joe lived through. I was a youngling at the time with Watergate. Remember Joe? Watergate. You talk to anybody from that era. Oh my gosh, a couple of operatives that may have been connected to Nixon broke into this hotel, into this DNC, and tried to get information. Oh my gosh. Well, McCarthy just says, how is this not bigger? A law enforcement entity actually working for the government, the FBI, sent spies into a campaign to crack into their emails, to crack into conversations, to report on them, to use it to get FISA warrants, to continue the spying, even while Trump was the president of the United States. Again, please explain to me how Watergate is now the gold standard. Because Watergate is nothing on this. Watergate is like romper room compared to what Spygate did. And I'm glad that more establishment figures like McCarthy, holding a leadership position on the Republican side of the House of Representatives, are finally out there saying what needs to be said. Now, these screenshots I'm about to show you, and for our podcast listeners, I'm going to read to you from the IG report. To be clear, are from her Twitter feed out of respect for her, and it's her highlights in there. Some stuff she found really interesting that when I read through it, I thought, gosh, yes, she's absolutely right in light of what we already know. All right, let's get to screenshot number one from the IG report with Catherine Herridge's highlights. This is about Jim Comey and how Comey, Joe, cannot get out of his own way. This guy has lied to you from day one. We now know he lied. It's documented that he lied, and he still continues to portray himself, as Judge Jeanine calls him, as Cardinal Comey, and as Sean Hannity calls him, the super patriot. The guy, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know any other way to tell you this, is just simply a discredited liar. Here we go. Let's look at the IG report from Catherine Herridge's information here. She highlights this part. It's from the IG report, quote, Jim Comey told the Office of Inspector General that he informed President-elect Trump that the FBI did not know whether the allegations were true or false, talking about the dossier, and that the FBI, listen, was not investigating them. This is in regards to the January 7, 2017 meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not true. Comey is lying. He is unquestionably telling you a known, documented falsehood. He told President Trump, to be crystal clear, that he was not investigating the dossier or the allegations in the dossier as of just January 7, 2017. Let's look at motive. Motive matters, ladies and gentlemen. Motive isn't always dispositive or the lack thereof in a criminal case, just to be clear. If I know Joe robbed a bank and I find this motive, great. If I don't and I got video of Joe robbing a bank, it doesn't matter whether I know the motive or not. Right. Joe can say, hey, space aliens told me to do it. He still robbed the bank. But motive helps. Motive helps in getting co-conspirators locked up. If Joe says his buddy told him to do it, well, now we want to investigate the buddy too. Comey's motive for lying here is irrelevant at this point. We know he did it. We may never get to the bottom. Was it that he hated Trump, which seems likely? Was it that he was totally incompetent? Who knows? But Comey is clearly suggesting here that on January 7th of 2017, when he briefed President Trump about the dossier, that he told Trump he was not investigating the charges. That is false. I'm going to get to another screenshot from Catherine Herridge in a minute that proves it's false. But I want to show you it's false both before and after that. They were investigating the dossier before, which Comey's already admitted. I think Jim Comey, I'm not kidding, folks, actually he's forgotten what he's told people. That's why he lies. They were investigating the dossier before in an almost unprecedented fashion, desperate to prove it was true. And before I get to that part, the January part, what have I told you on this show repeatedly over and over and over again about Comey? Folks, the FBI is interviewing one of Steele's primary sources in January of 2017, right as this briefing and all this stuff is going on with President Trump. Comey's telling Trump they're not investigating it. Then why were you interviewing Christopher Steele's primary subsource? Joe, would that fall under the not investigating Steele category, interviewing Steele sources? Just asking. I'm just throwing that out there around Christmas time. You were not an investigator, correct? But you're a smarter man than Comey. I know that. I'm not messing with you. He really is. You would consider that investigating, correct?
Yes, I would.
So thank you, Joe. So he's lying. They were investigating Steele's primary subsources that he said he was using for his dossier, and the subsource is telling them this is all crap. Comey's lying. He lied to Trump, showing you a history of deception with this guy. He's a snake. He's always been a snake. It's now obvious. This IG report paints a clear picture of a troubled man leading the most powerful federal law enforcement agency anywhere in the history of humankind, with unprecedented surveillance powers. Folks, of all the segments we've done, this is the easiest to understand. He's lying to Trump to get Trump to stop sniffing out the trail. Don't worry, President Trump, or President-elect Trump, there's no trail. We're not investigating this. He's lying.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.